And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Post broadcast. Yeah, if I could say that right. Podcast. Hello, Gerald. I know the game was boring, but come on. The Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here. It's Postgame, everyone. That's what was on my mind. Cannot thank you enough for starting to go ahead and be a part of what we're doing here. JSJ says he's starting to think he's cursed. You are, my friend. You are. What's going on? Adam, what's up? We'll all have to say our condolences to JSJ because he is now cursed. It is, of course, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for joining us. Truly appreciate everyone out there being a part of what we're doing right here at the LFB. It is exhibition season, second game in, but I wanted to go ahead and give some shout outs before we talk about the game. And hopefully my fellow panelists will arrive, the ones that can make it, the ones that said they would try to make it. So hopefully they can stop on by. And I've got a little Aussie surprise for you guys coming up on the show as well. But go ahead and check out what we're doing each and every time out. I've got my team previews continuing. I just dropped another one today, so go ahead and check out what I did in my latest conversation. If I could get that right, I said the Hornets. It's actually the Pelicans, and I put the Pelicans after I put the Hornets, so trust me, it's the Pelicans. It's the Pelican season preview I did with David Grubb. It's a really good conversation. Hope you get a chance to check it out. I've got the New York Knicks, the Knickerbockers with Chris LeBron coming up tomorrow for you guys. But if you're a member, you can catch it right now for just $2.99 a month. So go ahead, become a member. You get all those sweet emojis. I know I got to get rid of the AD emoji and replace it with something else. I was thinking about the Tom middle finger one where he gives a middle finger to Jamie Sweet as the emoji. I have to think if I could make that small. We'll see. We'll see. But I will say again, please become what we're doing here and be a part of what we're doing right here at the Lakers Fast Break by liking and subscribing. Also want to give a big shout out to everybody out there, including the Drip Show. That's right. The Drip Show is here. Look at his artwork right there. That's a big, awesome canvas art of Kobe, and it's a Genesis cartridge right there, just giving you the flashback. He knows my love for video games. He knows my love for the Lakers, and he put it all right there. You can have something like that too for your holiday season. You could say, "Hey, honey, look at what he did for Gerald. Look what he did for Gerald. He could do that for me. He could do that for me." Right there. So you just got to go ahead at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and the Twitter. Message him what you need. He'll get you a quote. Everything will get set up, and he will do what he can to go ahead and make something magical for you, whether it's Dodgers, Lakers, pop culture, sports related. Doesn't matter. Hats, pillows, T-shirts. I've seen him do it all. So go ahead with our good friend Drip Show Shop right there for you on, again, Instagram and Twitter. Also, as well, my good friend Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo, our good friends, the Lakerholics, Jamie Sweet, the Laker Tom. Go ahead and make sure you catch them today at Lakerholics.com. You know, Laker Tom, 2 games in, is probably already kind of grumbling, giving the middle finger to Jamie once again. But go ahead and catch what they're doing each and every day at Lakerholics.com. Our good friends also as well, Joe Sorrell, SimBlades.com, and the Joe Sorrell Experiment. You know, he's happy. He's leading 1-0 as the Dodgers are going to get set to play tomorrow against Philadelphia in Philly in Game 2. So we'll see what happens there. Also as well, of course, Empire Jeff TV covering the Lakers and Dodgers. Also as well, of course, our good friends, Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. I was on his channel earlier today, so go ahead and check that out. I was on earlier this week, or last week, excuse me. Last week I was on with Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. I'm all over the internet. I don't know if that's a good thing, but it's there. So go ahead and check me out everywhere and help out my good friends by liking and subscribing. Don't forget, though, to like and subscribe today to us. We need all the help we can get because someday I really want to be a podcast celebrity, but that hasn't happened yet. So go ahead and check out my shows, The Pop Culture Cosmos. I've got a new one coming up tomorrow morning. We're going to talk about Taylor Swift dominating the world and also The Rock not dominating the world, unfortunately, with his latest movie. It wasn't very much of a smash for the Smashing Machine. So we'll talk about that tomorrow morning, and I'll put it out there for everyone by early afternoon, right there for you at the Pop Culture Cosmos as well. But the Lakers' second game, a second exhibition game, go ahead. Yeah, lay it on. All right, I'm hearing you. The panic meter for some is already on when it comes to the Lakers, as today they went in again without LeBron James, without Luka Doncic, without Austin Reeves this time. But Gabe Vincent was there, and he gave the Lakers an early start, playing better than he probably has at any time in his Laker career, getting 16 points in the first half. Jake LaRavia looking solid with 10 points in the first half himself, and DeAndre Ayton chipping in with 7 points and 7 rebounds. Jared Vanderbilt looking limber, looking agile, looking active on the defensive end. Actually, even hit a three-pointer on his way to 9 points as well. So it looked pretty good in the first half as the Lakers kept it close. But in the second half, the third quarter started and it went in the toilet very quickly. The Lakers put in the scrubs and it just went downhill from there. Fourth quarter, though, those scrubs for the Golden State Warriors were actually kind of worse than the Lakers scrubs. So Lakers came back, got it under 10, but that's all they could do as they lost at the Chase Center, 111 to 103. Going to go ahead and talk about what went on during the course of the game, what you guys liked and what you guys didn't like. And for my Australian friends out there, I picked this up the other day at the local Costco. Tim Tam. I'm going to try that on the air here. I'm going to open one up for the first time and give it a try. I was told to drink milk, so I got milk with it. So we're going to go ahead and have some Tim Tams with milk right here on the show as well. What's up, Kurt? Great to have you here. Hoping the guys will still come in here. I know that John said he could not make the trip today, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can head out on it as best I can, but I'm going to go ahead and make sure we got the things straight up for you. I'm going to go ahead and send another email out to the guys to make sure that they know that we are on the air because the Lakers unfortunately lost 111 to 103. Want to know your guys' thoughts on who did well, who didn't do well, and who you think is going to be able to go ahead and help the Lakers this season. So want to hear your thoughts on that. But yeah, today, my takeaway from today's game early on is that it was nice to see Gabe Vincent in that first half really start to come alive. And I was really looking forward to that. Yes, JSJ, Tim Tams is Australian, which was, we saw it at Costco. And, I have a lot of Australians in my life as far as on the show. So I thought we'd go ahead and try it out and give it some love out there. There you go, indeed. BTS says the Lakers played good. If you want to take out the third quarter, yeah, they played good. But unfortunately, the third quarter happened, and that's why they were down by 20 points at one time. So we'll see what happens, though. Again, the Lakers have a week off. They don't play until this time next week against the Warriors once again. So we see if that fares better. A full week of Lakers training camp. We'll see if that helps. Maybe that will get Austin, Luka, and LeBron into the lineup. Again, although they are playing LeBron very carefully as far as him during the preseason, so I don't expect many minutes from him. But want to hear your thoughts on the early return so far for Jake LaRavia and DeAndre Ayton. Hear your thoughts in the chat as far as that's concerned. So definitely looking forward to hearing your thoughts on that. Dwight Smith says it's not going to cut it. Not going to cut it. And I can't say I would be wrong, on that one because I think, again, should be getting that winning mentality started. But we've seen the Lakers have bad preseasons before, so yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a disappointment, I'd have to say, to getting off to such a slow start. Kurt Affairs' Smashing Machine is a good Tinder name. Kurt, I'm telling you, you missed your calling, my friend. There's plenty of comedy clubs here, plenty of comedians that need new material. JSJ said, ooh, Gerald should try Vegemite. We'll see. We'll get in there. We'll get into the Aussie food a little more. Xbox says it's RJ Davis. RJ Davis was a highlight for the team because he was, let's go. Here again, he's a smaller guard, but got to the free throw line quite a bit. 8 of 8 from the free throw line. Again, of the Lakers after Austin Reeves on Friday, he was impressive for the Lakers scoring a double digits then. Today, he did the same, 11 points. Didn't do too much outside of that, getting only 1 assist, 1 rebound, but he did look more active, passed the ball, I think, with a lot of fluidity. Uh, really just good vision out there, and looks like the kid is trying hard. You're getting a lot of effort from that kid because he's trying to play for a roster spot. He's trying to play for a two-way deal, and let's hope the kid gets it because he really tried hard. Nate Williams, who was a late signee to training camp, 5 points and 6 rebounds. Christian Coloco came in, got a three-pointer, 4 points, 2 rebounds. Jackson Hayes, 8 points and 6 rebounds. Some people in the chat were encouraged by his play, at least in the first half. Bronny and Dalton. Nick, let me go to Nick Smith. Nick Smith looks like he's going to be a scorer for the guys, but size-wise and defensive-wise, it's been a little bit of an issue there. But 9 points coming off the bench for him, 3 of 8. Shooting 1 of 3 from behind the arc. And then Bronny James and Dalton Knecht. We talked about how bad they struggled on Friday. Did a little bit better today. 12 points for Dalton, 5 points for Bronny. I mean, Bronny looked a little bit more comfortable out there, especially as far as passing the rock. Dalton rebounding, got 6 rebounds for you. Their shooting is still somewhat left to be desired because they were 5 of 17 shooting and 3 of 10 from behind the arc combined. But again, little steps with those guys because, again, Bronny did have to cover Booker on Friday, and he had to cover Curry for a few minutes on today. So a little bit concerning there. 5 turnovers for Bronny, 4 personal fouls. He got those 4 personal fouls early, guarding Curry, which is no surprise. The 5 turnovers. That I think is going to be something that's the part of the genetics from LeBron. I was hoping he wouldn't get, but it looks more and more like he did get it. No worries, Xbox. But if you guys are going to go on, let us know. Oh, Rodell's back. DK's shot looks way off. Hopefully, you had a great summer, Rodell. I'm wishing you well. Again, with DK's release, I could see what you're talking about. His release, when he's putting it up there, didn't look smooth. It looked like the ball is going, when he releases it at its high point, it looks like it's just going to go long or a little bit off. I hear you on that. He has lost it. And I'm not going to argue with him because, DK looks like mentally, we've talked about this all summer, where he just looked totally out of his league in summer league, which was not what you're supposed to do in your second year. This was probably one of his better performances, and you saw he was still struggling with his shot today. I don't know what the hell happened to him, but something, I think it's more mental than physical, but something happened to him when they had that trade and then he brought him back because he's not been the same since, and kind of concerned for that kid's long-term future with the Lakers going forward. But we'll see what happens. Derek G, what's up? Lakers Nation, better performance of the team, I thought, tonight. Yeah, a little bit better collective. That first half, I think you could take some positives away, Derek. We will just kind of like move that third quarter somewhere else. And the fourth quarter was just all scrubs as the Lakers took advantage of it. But let's take some positives because it was close in the first half. And the Warriors were playing several of their starters, including Draymond was in there, Al Horford was in there, Steph Curry was in there, Jonathan Kuminga was there getting some minutes as well. So the Warriors had some other players really just getting in there and playing effectively, just getting into shape, seeing what they're doing. They all played around 15 minutes. Jimmy Butler was in there as well. So you expect that what they were doing, they were trying to play, I think, get some things worked out as far as their offense, especially working out with Al Horford and seeing how that works out. But Podziemski was in there. Moses Moody actually played really well, especially when Knecht was guarding him, unfortunately. 19 points for him. Yeah, pretty effective game for Golden State Warriors. Again, the Lakers, you guys should be pleased at the effort that they gave without LeBron, without Luka, without Austin. They really good performance tonight as far as in my concern as well. So Carter Fair says Dalton Knecht been playing like the Monstars took his powers. Yes, indeed they did. Yes, indeed they did. Any improvement? Hey, John, what's going on? I saw in the first half. I did see some really effective signs from in the first half. So I'm going to take it away as far as some really good effort on the defensive end in that first half. They kept the team in the game. Jared Vanderbilt looked like a player today, so I was highly encouraged by that. And again, they have now a week off to go ahead and work in as far as the training camp on some things, and then hopefully we can see coming out of it this time next week, they could go ahead and make sure that they have hopefully at least Austin and Luka. I would hope Austin, Luka, and LeBron, but I'm not counting on LeBron. But we'll wait and see. I'm hoping it is going to be a week off for the team, so I'm hoping they can take full advantage of it, working on both the offensive and the defensive end. Derek says, Gerald, the people there are saying that the Warriors can compete with the OKC Thunder. I just don't think Golden State is a great of the team. Derek, I actually had an audio listener. I want to give a big shout out to our audio listeners as well that are listening to this on, of course, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And doing so, I want to give a big shout out to one of the listeners because he was hearing our Golden State preview that I did with Legend. And he was saying that I was a little bit too early in doing it because he really think that the team really got the Kuminga situation down right. And I agree with him to that as far as the team really got they did it right as far as on their end, as far as how they handled the Jonathan Kuminga situation. But Damon Miller, wanted to give him a big shout out. He thinks that they're really going to be up there as far as a quality team in the Western Conference. I don't know. I just see with their age and their fact that they're really small up front, I think those are going to be issues with them. I'm not sure where that leaves them. How do they nurse and how do they take care of Butler, Horford, Curry, and Green, guys all over 35 throughout the season? I don't know how they'll take care of them and stay competitive in the Western Conference, but if they're all healthy come playoff time, you never know. Curry could go off on a heater, and anything, as you know, Derek, anything is possible when Curry is going off on a heater right there. So we will have to wait and see how that works out. John says, I haven't been able to join you guys for a while. Aiden fitting in well. It's been okay. I see him working hard on defense. Rim protecting 2 blocks tonight. He had 2 blocks the other night as well. So, I mean, that's a plus. He's saying all the right things right now, which I like. The fact he wants to work hard on defense, the fact he wants to be there. I want to see how it works out with him and Luka. Obviously, if he's going to be more agreeable or amenable to doing the pick and roll game, something he hasn't done a lot of in previous years. He's been like you put him right around the free throw line, or you put him on the side and you get him into a situation where he can just do his turnaround jumpers. That's what he's been more comfortable with. But I think in this team, he has to be more of a pick and roll guy. You saw how at times it was effective for Jackson Hayes and how well it worked out there. I just think right now that he's saying a lot of what I like to hear. I'm hoping it will continue for the rest of the season, and because he's got a lot of money out riding on the line. It'll be the case where he understands what's going on with it. But Mark, can you hear me, my friend? Are you with me? Mark, you with me, Mark?
I can. Can you hear me? Can you hear?
Mark,
yes.
I don't hear you right now, but
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so you could maybe fixing on some things right now and see what he can do that as far as. But Derek says, Gerald, I'm predicting us to be the 4th seed in the West. I think a lot of people are putting us right there. I'm in that spot right now. 3 to 5 is where I'm thinking right now. I haven't really placed 100% exactly where that is. I know I'm going to be asking you guys for the predictions, if you want to join us for NBA predictions for the entire NBA, as far as where you're placing them. I'm going to be asking for that here in the coming weeks. Not yet. Don't email me yet. I haven't started yet. But right around the 12th, 15th or so, I think I'm going to go ahead and start asking people, the panelists that are here and you guys, where you think you're going to spot the Lakers. So if you guys want to give us a shout out, I know Rodell was part of that last year, and would love to see you guys be a part of that again, where you think and predict where the Lakers are at, and be nice to go ahead and check back on it, and see where we're at as far as the end of the season is concerned on that. So yeah, I'm thinking 3 to 5 myself. So definitely would love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And when we go into that here in a couple weeks, definitely, or actually about a week or so, a little more than a week, I'll go ahead and start doing that. Rodell says Butler is probably going to play 40 games for Golden State. You could be right on that. 40 to 60. I'd say the 50 mark, it would be what I would say. If you get 60 to 65 games from him at Golden State, I think that's probably a win for Golden State. But yeah, I don't see more than 50 games right now for him. I think that's going to be something there. If they can keep him healthy and keep him upright, I think that'll be a win for them. But that also will help their team, because we saw once he got traded to the Golden State Warriors, how good he was, or as far as helping the team. He was okay. He was pretty good, but the team overall performed much better in those last couple months of the season. So, and obviously they went on a run until Stephen Curry got hurt. Can they take that momentum into the season, or are they getting just a little bit too old? We'll have to wait and see. But you guys are great out there. Truly appreciate it. Once again, the Lakers, they do lose 111 to 103. They're now 0-2 on the exhibition season. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on what's going on with the Lakers. Always right here. Leave your comments. Even if you're watching this after the fact, always want to make sure that you guys get a response from me as best as possible, whenever possible, right here at the Lakers Fast Break. If you have a question, you can always go ahead and reach out to me at LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. Martin Blake says, it's over. Lakers players are trash, all combined, can't defend wars to save their own life. But Martin with the positive message he wants to send out to you all there. Okay. After 2 exhibition games and the fact that the Lakers haven't put out their full roster. Okay, Martin, that's what you think. All right. He's I said when I was on the air earlier today with Legend on I Got Next Sports Media, you guys have a tendency to push the panic button a little too early, but okay, I'll be that. But Sports Baby says paying someone $60 million to play 40, 60 games is a disaster. He should be healthy to play at least 72. Can you hear me now, Commodore 64?
Hear me? Gerald, can you hear me?
I see you moving. Can you hear me now? All right.
I can hear you.
See if I
it's sort of a little bit funny. Are you getting static?
There we go. All right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah, just great to have you here, my friend. John says, are you doing a fantasy league? Yes. In about a week, next week, I will also start setting up a league for fantasy basketball league as well. So my friend, Mr. Commodore 64, a.k.a. Xbox, a.k.a. Mark, my good friend from Australia, before I had my Tim Tam, what were your thoughts on the game?
Oh, look, I don't know, man. You can sort of look at the game in a few different ways. You know, you can look at it negatively with, what JJ's doing with Bronny. Dalton, obviously, extremely poor. So if you want to look at the negative sides of a preseason or the second preseason game, we definitely can. But, maybe trying to take that half glass full approach and focusing on some positives. I thought Ayton was, looked okay. His second game out there. You want him. Let me know if I cut out or anything, Gerald. Just I'm on Bluetooth headset. Okay. So, Ayton, 20-odd minutes, that's what you want to get into him in a game like that. Again, Laravia, that's a bit touch and go at the moment. There's not, the best signs in the world there. But, again, it's just far too early to tell. And, credit where credit is due. Rodell made a funny comment, but third string versus third string wasn't too bad. It was actually the most entertaining point of the game because we made a little bit of a comeback. And so, therefore, there's a little bit of promise there with guys like RJ Davis, Hayes, Hayes is Hayes. Vando, like you said, Gerald, he did some good defensive things. I mean, if you're going to get those kind of minutes out of him and he's doing that defense and scoring 9 points, that's serviceable. But he's not, the way he is, he's injury prone and inconsistent. Let's see what he does next game kind of logic. But overall, yeah, I don't know. For me, the most disappointing aspect thus far of the preseason obviously is what we're doing there with Bronny, and how we can actually think that we're a credible team, with a guy like that. And that's the worry for me. Like, I was always JJ's, a bit of an advocate for JJ when people were talking him down and stuff. He worried me with the antics he pulled with Hayes in the finals. And now the rhetoric around Bronny just seems to be like, I don't know if he's just on message, like if he's told what he, by the Lakers of what essentially how Bronny's going to roll around here, because of a coach with maybe more experience, and they wouldn't be talking up Bronny at any stage during the preseason. So that's just a small concern for me with JJ. But overall, we're not going to get a gauge on this team yet until Luka, LeBron, are in the lineup, particularly Luka. So it's really hard to tell. At the end of the day, Gerald, if Luka and LeBron aren't in the team during the season, we're going to look like this. So it's hard to say. Gabe's face is slightly improving, and today's performance was pretty solid. So, Gabe for me is another one. He's got to be looking at this like he's a second or third choice guard in the team, and that he could be playing some big time minutes. So hopefully he does play well in the preseason. Today was an okay sign. So yeah, but we need the other boys back. Like I said during playback, Gerald, there's no excuse for LeBron James to not be playing. I know you're 40, bro, but you didn't play any off season. I think it's a little bit of a look, if he's injured, Gerald, and they're managing him, blah, blah, blah. But I think at one stage anyway, Gerald, he's got to get out there. And I don't think it should be game 6. I think, he doesn't have to play 48 minutes. You can play one quarter. So hopefully we see James and Luka soon enough. That'd be nice. But yeah, it's hard to read where we're at. I know there's a lot of people in chat that were saying we're trash and things like that. But I'm not going to go there yet at all. Until we see Luka in the team, Gerald, all this is pretty Mickey Mouse, isn't it?
It is indeed, my friend. But once again, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Here with Mr. Commodore 64. It is, of course, Mark, a.k.a. Xbox. Great to have you here, my friend. The Lakers, unfortunately, lose 111 to 103. Mark, I think I'm going to have that Tim Tam as I go ahead and ask you this next question right now. I'm going to open up.
Oh, wait, man.
Guys. Tim Tam, right
Let's
there.
Go.
Get my Australian. Get my Aussie fix right.
You're the man. And you said you got that from Costco, Gerald.
Yes, Costco. Yes, we were looking it up on Costco. Oh, these are Australian treats. Okay, I got to go ahead and give a big shout out to my Australians. Yes, my wife took these to work, and I guess they ate them all up. So, guys,
they're very
if you're not
popular
familiar with the Tim Tam. It is a chocolate-covered wafer, 2 wafers, filling in the middle, and then it's covered. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. I know I got to be like these food challenge guys that always show you the food right there in the camera. Okay, I'm going to hold it right there so the camera focuses on the wafer right there. So I'm going to go and break it in half right there. Look, there you go. All right, giving it a try right now. I've never had a Tim Tam.
G'day, Blue Magic.
There you go. All right, and see what we do right here. Let's go.
John.
Dipped in the milk.
Hey. Wait, I told you. There's a technique. You got to bite the top and the bottom, and you use it as a straw. So you actually sip the milk up. Yeah, so it goes through the middle of the Tim Tam.
Okay. All right. I see how it is. All right. So with that, Mark, I guess before we get to the stuff with Bronny and Dalton, because we seem to be pairing them together right now. because
Yeah.
they seem to be elevating around the same level right now. Some people will probably say Dalton's doing a little bit better. Some people will say Bronny's doing it better. So we'll hold off on that for a second. I want to take some of the positives because that first half was actually a pretty much a positive because you don't have Austin, you don't have LeBron, you don't have Luka, and you're playing against most of the starters or most of the rotation against Golden State, and they held it pretty good in that first half. Defensively, they were active, and I want to give them a lot of props for doing just that.
Yeah, look, I think you're probably being a little bit more optimistic or favorable than me, Gerald, but just because that's not a good enough level. Like, yeah, fine, it was okay, but you even mentioned it during the stream. What did they end up as? Was it 3 for 18? Between the two of them, Dalton and Bronny combined. So, pardon me, that's not going to get it done, obviously. So, um, I don't know what to, to make of it. Sorry, I'm having a cough here. Bear with me.
All good, my friend. Bloodhound says,
yeah,
Mark,
it's super hot here. It's so humid here, Gerald. Sorry. So it just sort of gives me a bit of a dry throat. Really hot day in Australia. Where I am in particular. But just quickly as well, I want to shout out some people. Blood, John, Aussie John, hasn't been around for a while, like he said. Obviously been busy. So everyone's sort of, firing back up as the Lakers come back. And everyone else here, Blue Magic, Johnny, Martin, etc. So I don't know, Gerald. Like, you can look at it positively in a sense, but that's not the end game for the Lakers. Is Bronny James and Dalton Knecht. And like if we drill down on Dalton in particular, man, it's becoming ever more worrying what's happening there. There's just been no turnaround, Gerald, whatsoever. I mean, I think about him when he played in the sophomores or the rookies or whatever. He was obviously in the rookie team or whatever that Mickey Mouse sort of tournament was before they had the All-Star Day, and his team won it and made. So he actually played on All-Star Day, I think, from memory, Dalton. But and he looked really good, like in terms of at that level with the other rookies. He actually looked. But the thing that you kept saying to me that's really sort of come to the forefront is he's never been able to defend. And even when I look at obviously a game like that, Joe, there is no defense played, so he might shine in a game like that. And I'm watching him more and more, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this dude's pretty athletic. Like you can, when he's hustling, when he's on a fast break, he can dunk with, the best of them. I mean, for a sort of player of that background, and so. Why can't he defend? Why can't he stay in front of players? It's got to be a mental thing. And just mentally, he does seem just on the surface level, Gerald, to be slipping. And it's a real shame because, like I keep saying, it wasn't long ago that guys like LeBron were absolutely glazing him. So fingers crossed, it might be Dalton needs to be traded and he might need a shine. I think you've mentioned this before, and guys like Joe, that it might be for him to go to somewhere else, like a smaller market where he can maybe shine. I also feel like the whole Bronny thing, it's got to be tough on the guy. It's just got to continually be compared to Bronny, or the fact that he was drafted in the same. He's not really compared, but we are starting to compare them. And to be drafted in the same draft, and you went, Joe. Remember, you went to the preseason, and all the cameras were on Bronny, and yeah, this guy's the 19th pick, and everyone's there obsessed with the 55th. So I think it's a pretty tough environment that he's found himself in, to be honest. And then he's been traded. So I don't know, man. I like Dalton's not the answer right now for the Lakers. The guard depth is going to be Gabe, Luka, at this stage, LaRavia, Smart, potentially Davis from what we're seeing. So, unless Dalton can shine soon, man, and he's not like, he is getting some opportunities in these games, isn't he, Gerald? But he's not really balling out. So we'll see. But it doesn't, it looks like a pretty hard path back for Dalton to contribute a lot. But you never know. Injuries and stuff can play a role, and he might need to step up. at one stage. But yeah, the Bronny and Dalton thing doesn't excite me too much, to be honest. That was serviceable, but at the same time, Steph and Jimmy and Kuminga and that they were, they at the end of the day they were still leading quite comfortably at halftime, and they weren't playing 100% themselves. So you got to look at it both ways, really.
Once again, it is Mark, aka Commodore 64. Has he shunned Xbox? I'll let him decide on that. I know if you heard the Pop Culture Cosmos, you know my thoughts on the Xbox. So
I know you do. I know. It's all good.
But the Lakers, that's true. Well, I still got my Xboxes back there. Still waiting for you and I on Gears. But
I know.
It is the Lakers losing 111-103. Again, I know that Bloodhound said he was watching the Patriots game. I want to go ahead and make sure everybody knows that the Lakers first half were very competitive. And a lot of that, Mark, was based off the 16 points in the first half by Gabe Vincent. Came out red hot shooting, obviously providing a lot of energy, playing probably better than maybe at any time we've seen him in his entire Laker tenure. I don't know if we'll get that again this season. All I know is he is playing on the last year of the contract, and I've made imperative to you guys. 7 guys on the Lakers are playing for their next NBA contract. I know that you guys don't like to deal with a lot of money issues and things like that, but in the NBA, it is a lot about money. I didn't say all about money. I said it's a lot about money and where they're going to be playing next and how much they're going to be playing for. So him playing like this gives me hope he can take this into the next season and start being for the, what we planned on signing him in the first place for is to finally be a consistent player coming off the bench.
Fingers crossed. I mean, we have seen these breakout sort of halves and performances by him in very small doses before, Gerald. So it's not a long enough sample size, but obviously that's what we want. Like, we can always talk about my hatred for his space, but it's just a long running joke. At the end of the day, he's a Laker and I'd love him to do well. But he's just been so inconsistent. And the other issue with him is his injuries, he picks up innocuous injuries all the time. So let's just see, Gerald, because like I keep saying, there's a potential for Gabe Vincent to be a really important part of the rotation, like super important. I mean, at the end of the day, if the guy potentially can play like he did in Miami in that final series, and I know he's never been able to do that for us, but if he can, then you're looking at Smart and him being, potentially the 6th man off the bench. Obviously you prefer Smart to be playing at a better level, so he is the 6th man, but Gabe's got a real big chance if he plays well, but he just hasn't, man. And so I'm not going to, get buy too much into it. Again, it's a game where it's a preseason game where the opposition, they're sort of focusing more on their, what they're wanting to do, not so much playing hardcore defense. So it's really tough to know if that was, what Gabe's going to give us every game this year, Gerald, but it'd be nice. And he was the reason that we stayed in the game in the first half and that we were able to, make it somewhat competitive in the fourth. But, Bronny James, we did see your dunk, and no doubt it's going to be the lead on ESPN, the putback of Bronny James. Oh, come on, man. I think we mentioned it during the game, Gerald. He jacked up a 3, got it, and then he got the rebound or whatever in the next play, and then he airballed it from 2. So that's just Bronny James to a T. Put back dunk, airball to, double dribble, everything he's got in the bag and nothing. And where you need to be doing things well is scoring in that, and he can't. So, I think it still upsets me, man. Like, it really still upsets me that this guy's in the club and he's, someone mentioned it before, we've given him an $8 million contract over 3 years. Like, that's big money that you could be using on someone else, isn't it? So I don't know. And then what happens if LeBron retires this year? Bronny's still got 1 more year. Are we seriously having Bronny then for another year and like recontracting him? That's hard to get your head around as well. So like Bronny James is a nice kid. We'll keep saying that, blah blah blah. But there's also a level that you got to get to as a player. And so why wouldn't someone like Bronny James be like, okay, I'm not good enough to play in the NBA. Why don't I go to Europe? Things like that. It's just no thought process like that, man, with Bronny and what's happened here with LeBron bringing into the club. So we'll see. It's still a very funny period with LeBron and Bronny, but yeah, my hopes are all around Luka Doncic, 26-year-old superstar that for me, has to be looking at becoming the MVP of the league. So if he can do that, and guys like LeBron can fold in behind him, we're still going to be a chance. That's how I see it. And yeah, Bronny James, you make jersey sales, blah blah blah. But like I keep saying as well, would Bronny James be selling jerseys if he was playing for the Orlando Magic? I don't think so. So it's like, it works both ways. You keep telling me that Bronny's sold 500,000 jerseys. Half
Mark,
the people probably thought they're buying LeBron jerseys, Gerald.
He'll sell as long as he's in the league. He'll sell jerseys.
Yeah.
As long as he's in the league, he'll sell jerseys just because of who his last name is. Let's get that out there. And you're never going to take that style away from it. Whether he's on Orlando, whether he's on Philadelphia, whoever, it doesn't matter.
It wouldn't be as much, though. Like
it won't be as much. It's like anything. If he does not reach the star level,
I know.
If he does not reach a star level, Mark, yeah, you're right. If he stays just a back end of the rotation or a bench player, it will decline over the period of time. That's going to be that's just the way it is. But if
you're right, he's a popular.
Let's say he plays 7 years in this league. I mean, if he plays at the level he's playing now, again, he won't make as much money, but he'll always sell jerseys because of his name, James, on the back. But I will say this: sure. He needs to be able to shoot more consistently. It's still not a pretty shot. I know that Rodell talked about it, and he met Rodell. Him and I don't agree with a lot of things in the past, but I agree with him 100% on Dalton Knecht and the way his release is right now. I think it's almost too high at times where it's going long. The ball's going long, and I just don't like what I see. It's not in good rhythm from him right now when he's making that catch and shoot. With Bronny, it's just he's got the confidence. You can see he's got a lot of confidence. It's just the execution and the follow through are still really not there yet, and his decision making. For every really nice pass that you see, you'll see a turnover right after it. And it's just, I was hoping the genetic tree would not go ahead and drop the turnovers into that equation since his dad is the NBA all-time record holder in turnovers. But it is what it is. He's got to be able to cut down his turnovers if he has any usage rate at all. So I'm hoping to see Bronny, who's in the chat right now, hopefully work on that, Jay. Hopefully cut down those turnovers so you won't piss off Joe every chance he gets. So let's just keep it that. But I want to put on something as far as a positive note. Again, I want to go back to positives. RJ Davis in both games really has shown out. He only took 2 shots here, but he got to the line a lot. He drove the ball effectively and got fouled, and that's what you need to do to stay in the league. He's still on Exhibit 10, I believe, as of this time. I may be mistaken on that, but he is fighting to get it upgraded to a 2-way. He's fighting to see if he can stay in the league instead of just being banished to the G League right away. I see good things from the kid. He is smaller in size, so that works as a detriment to him. You cannot pair him and Bronny in the same backcourt coming off the bench. I think that's suicide because both of those guys are smaller in size during the regular season. But RJ Davis gives you some energy. I thought he worked effectively as a backup point guard, finding individuals cleanly without turning the ball over. And again, getting to the line 8 of 8 tonight was very impressive. Your thoughts overall on RJ Davis so far in these 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, he looks promising, but how much is that because, some of these other guys look trash? I don't know, but he does. His aggression there, Gerald, is good. His athleticism for his size is really strong. So, is a positive out of the first 2 games, Gerald, and someone that you're potentially looking at like, okay, how can he fit into the rotation? And look, I'm sort of on the same boat as Gustavo, but, Bronny is going to get talked about. We're all over it. But, yeah, to even contemplate what you said there, Gerald, about Bronny, playing regular minutes in the regular season alongside this guy or whatever, that's not even a thought process we can go down, surely. So, RJ, yeah, full credit to him, man. I think that, let's see what he does the next year. He's going to get a full run at this preseason so the Lakers can see what he can contribute. And to his credit, 2 good games. So, he's probably, if there's a pecking order, he's certainly pushed in front of those 2 guys we've been speaking about in my mind, just from the eye test. But there is other players to come back. So we need a update on the Tim Tam, but how far down the pecking order will an RJ Davis be when everyone's around? We'll see, but really good signs. Can I get how was the Tim Tam, Gerald?
Not too bad. I like him.
Yeah,
they're good.
You can't really go wrong with chocolate.
No, you can't go really wrong with chocolate. Again, for those out there uninitiated, Tim Tams are chocolate covered. In this case, the one I'm trying is chocolate covered double wafers with filling in the middle. So they're pretty small. They're about the size of maybe 2 of your fingers. Actually, half of that if you count the size in that. But they're pretty good. Have them with some milk. I was told coffee is really good with it. So yeah, go ahead and check it out, guys. Might be in your local Costco right now for those in America, but just wanted to give the heads up on that. Yeah, absolutely indeed. But
thanks for doing that.
Parade on Figueroa. Great to have you here, my friend. Gerald and Mark, do you anticipate Dalton getting traded again this season? If not, if he's not performing, what's his value? If he's not performing, he has no value. First off, a great question. Great to have you here on Twitch Parade. Before I bring it over to you, Commodore, Mark, I want to go ahead and say with Dalton, I really am worried about where he's at. Defensively, it's still a mess. He looks like he's one of the worst defenders in the league, and I don't say that out of malice. I don't say that out of any hostilities, but really, I'm very concerned about what I see from Dalton, and going forward. I don't know what his value would be. I mean, he's just a $4 million throw-in at this point in time for Figueroa, and he provides no value to us if he continues to suffer. And if he can't even get a regular roster spot, that value goes down even further. And before I bring it over to Legend, Mark, let me go ahead and hear some thoughts on Dalton, because I know Dalton, again, I don't want to be talking ill about Dalton. We were so high on him the summer he came out.
Awesome.
And thank you, Sports Baby. Truly appreciate it. 13 months a member. I wanted to go ahead and ask your thoughts, Mark, on what's going on with Dalton, because it's just really sad to see.
Yeah, well, shout out to Legend. Always great to be on the same show as Legend. We'll obviously get your thoughts really, really soon, bro. Being a Golden State Warrior fan. But Dalton, I've touched on it before. I'm just trying to find the comment by Parade, and shout out to Parade as well. He's a fellow Australian. He's on the West Coast, so quite a long distance away, actually, about 4 or 5 hours.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Plane flight, but he's based in Perth from memory. So shout out to him. But yeah, man, Dalton, Gerald, I just touched on it before. Won't take too long again. There's major issues there. And even now, the concern, Gerald, is that the production is going down from a scoring sense. That wasn't the worry for him. It's like, okay, this guy can score. He's a scorer. He might miss some shots, but he'll eventually make them. Score it. Shoot or whatever they say. But there's a real issue there. You've just touched on where his stroke looks different. So not only can he not defend, he's starting to lose the ability to shoot. He can't really play make. He doesn't dribble. There's just a real, drop off in a rapid space of time, and it might be confidence, it might be the setting. I can't work it out, but Man, far out, Joel. You can go back to pods where we're on together less than 6 months ago, where we're thinking, geez, we've got a player here. And it's just changed so quickly. So, and he doesn't look to be getting it back. So, yeah, I think he will be traded. It's just whether or not we can get something for him, and he's not showing enough that we're going to be able to get anything decent.
I want to say this because Anthony said, you're not ripping on Bronny? Again, at the beginning of the show, I took special time to go ahead and talk about Dalton and Bronny and how they're struggling, both of them, mightily. Bronny had to guard both Booker and then on this occasion Curry. But on the offensive end, it's still quite a mess with the fact that 5 turnovers and then also as well, not much better shooting than what he did on Friday. And Friday, I was really rough on the kid on Friday, and so was Joe. Today, 2 of 6, 1 of 3 from 3, 5 points, 5 turnovers, and 4 fouls. Most of those were committed in the first half trying to guard Curry. I can just say this: that's not going to get it done. And again, Anthony, so make sure you hear the whole show. Both Dalton and Bronny have really underperformed so far to what we've seen, to what we're hoping to see. And Dalton did score 12 points, but 3 of 11 shooting, 2 of 7 from 3. It's just not going to keep him out there if he just can't defend or even come close to defending. He needs to be a 40% shooter to stay out there on the floor because defensively it's just such an issue. I mean, Moody was going off on him, and anybody he was guarding was seemingly Pat Spencer, Mark hit a 3 on him, and I'll just leave it at that. So
he had us last year, the postman Pat.
Yeah, exactly, indeed. We won't go into more of that because I know that the Pat Spencer jokes could keep on running. But here today also as well, a good man indeed. I stopped by his channel, I Got Next Sports Media, earlier today. It is Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Legend, great to have you here. Can you hear me, my friend?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
All right. Awesome. I got C on one side and L on the other. Sounds good indeed. But Legend, I know that Kuminga came in the game today. I know that's going to be a sore issue going over. Again, I think everybody's just biding their time and waiting until he can be traded in the middle of January 15th, after what was signed. I know that our listeners wanted you to talk about more on an updated fashion on this Warriors team, but seeing what you saw tonight, where it was most of the starters and most of the rotation for the Warriors, not playing against LeBron, Luka, or also as well Austin. So I don't know how well you could talk about the matchup between the Lakers and the Warriors tonight, but give me your thoughts on how the Warriors look to you tonight and how that's going to equate towards the season, especially knowing what's going on with the Kuminga situation.
I can at least say that maybe the team could be better than what I think personally going into this team. I really don't expect much from them, but tonight showed that there is a lot of good things about them, even though the name Golden State Warriors fit so perfectly with the team, looking at that age of most of the starters. But they could be better than what I think they are. So I can at least say that. But I just think that I really would be a lot more happier when we get Kuminga moved on, so we can kind of move on from the situation because of just knowing from a personal standpoint of playing basketball and being on a team full of different attitudes and emotions and all. When you have that one person who truly don't want to be there with you, kind of makes everything feel kind of odd. But you try to make it not look so obvious, but deep down you know it's odd. I feel like in order to really probably bring him the most out of this roster, you gotta try to move on from him. So I think January he's going to get here, so we can go and move on. But otherwise, I'm impressed with the roster. Looks pretty good. I won't really get too into it because it's preseason. We ain't playing the real deal or anything like that. So I ain't gonna really get too much happy or anything into it. And I would tell the same thing, Laker Nation. Well, don't go into panic mode or anything just yet. It's too soon. Give it a chance.
I agree with you, Legend. Again, 15 minutes. Your rotation guys only played about 15 minutes today, and then for the Lakers, Mark, they didn't have their top 3 players and their top 3 playmakers in the lineup today. But if I was JJ and they're flying back right now to LA, and they've got a week. You've got a week of training camp before next Sunday's game, which is, again, I don't know who is scheduling this, but the fact that, okay, you take a week off, but then you've got, 4 games within a span of less than a week, roughly, which makes no sense to me. You need to space these out in the exhibition season a little bit better would be my recommendation. But, I'm not scheduling these things, so be that as it may.
No, you are right. It's very rushed and bulked up, Jared. It's strange because you can risk injury playing too many games.
There's a back-to-back game in the exhibition season. Why?
Yeah, so essentially you can't play players that played on one night the other night unless you're stupid. So it's not good. You're right.
It's weird. But getting back to that, if you've got a week to work on the team specifics, what are you working on if you're JJ for the next week before next Sunday's game against the Warriors? Again.
Legend, you can have a go. Yeah, you go, Legend.
Yeah, so that's a whole lot of time in between games, and then a back-to-back. That's very weird. Preseason time period. I would just use this. If I'm JJ, let's use this time just to look at your role players, see what you got, see who you want to roll with coming off the bench and all that. That's the best thing that really be done at this time period. You pretty much know who you're probably gonna be a starting lineup. Even though I know we all going back and forth with the Marcus Smart or Austin Reeves. But you probably want to look at this time period to work on that bench, because that was to me the biggest issue going into last year with especially the playoff time period. Your bench, I would use this time period to see where your bench is at and see how much or what you got available. But that back-to-back part, that's just weird. Who made that schedule? Like, why would you do that in the preseason?
What were they smoking or drinking?
No sense. I mean, jeez. I thought WNBA got issues with commissioners and all that.
I think Legend made a really good point there, Gerald. Sorry, just around, particularly this first week of preseason should be about is like he rightfully said, we sort of know the starting lineup. Okay, we're interchanging AR with Marcus Smart, but then the rest of them, it's sort of a bit of it's a lottery right now. Obviously, there's, someone like you think like Gabe's next in line. You think Hayes is next in line after Aiden, things like that. But that's where, this preseason will be good to figure out who those next guys in line are. Is it RJ Davis, rather than Dalton Knecht? Is Vando going to be actually playing some decent minutes? Things like that. So Legend's totally right. That's what we've got to use this next week or first couple of weeks for preseason for, because realistically we are a pretty top heavy team and we do know our starters. It's Rui, it's Ayton, it's LeBron, it's Luka, and it's the interchange between AR and Marcus Smart. Sorry about the siren in the background. All good.
Okay. They don't like it sounds like they don't like your opinion, so they'll be coming for you.
Yeah, that or some other issue, Gerald.
So I'll just say this, guys. Again, when it comes right down to it, it's just the fact that there's no false hope right now. It's just the second game of the exhibition season. So when you look at it, you have to go ahead and just say to yourself, the Lakers have not put out their best 2 playmakers and players overall. And in the case of Austin, he didn't play tonight. So I don't know how much you guys can take away from it, but I wouldn't hit the panic button just yet. We will have to wait and see what happens. Over the course of the next week, the Lakers do have a week to go ahead and fix this roster. So with that said, again, there's no need to go ahead and start going off on people on that or trying to say a whole bunch of BS. Because, it's just not time yet. It's not time yet, Legend, to go ahead and start hitting that panic button. Because, again, in the preseason, you're just trying to work on putting things out there and trying to work on what might work during the season and what hopefully you can go ahead and get those kinks worked out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you're really doing at this point. is just using this time period just to figure out who's gonna be your role players, who you gonna have that can come off the bench, who can be a six man. That's really all this preseason really about. That's why you don't. That's why a lot of people don't realize. That's why you don't see a lot of your starters. You know who they are going into the season. It's the bench where you have no idea who you got, and that's the time period right now to figure out who is you can trust going into the season and who you think I can't really trust him right now. Like sit him toward the 9th or 10th row, something like that. That's pretty much all you doing during this time period. Just figuring that part out. People like LeBron, Luka, they have no reason to play no preseason. They above that part. They gonna be there. You ain't gotta worry about them. Just figure out what the Gabe Vincents and the Rui is. Figure out all of them. What you gonna do with them wise. That's what this time period is meant for.
What did you think about your boys tonight, Legend, in terms of, obviously Steph and that were out there for a little bit. What were the, we did make a comeback in that fourth quarter when it was sort of second unit on second unit. Was that a bit disappointing from your end, or was there some good signs overall? Because I know you've got to replace Looney, and, Kuminga's coming back into the lineup too. So how did you feel about them?
I would at least say the offense to me looked a lot better than last year. That's one of the biggest things that very disappointing was the offense was, especially in that playoff round against the T-Wolves. We were lacking offense when Curry went down. So I do like that now that we got Al Horford. Got a stretch forward that give us an offense on the floor that can knock down threes with Draymond and them. Smile actually a lot more better consistent with knocking down threes than Draymond. So that to me is a big help. So I'm not too disappointed about them allowing a little comeback. I mean, we don't want a lot of it to happen too often. But every so often, I'm going to be too upset about that. So I think we got some pretty good, decent role players, pretty good bench. And I love the Seth Curry sign. That's another 3-point shooter. Whenever they can get that analyzed and all with money-wise. But other than that, not bad. I'm more optimistic going into it. But like I said, preseason, I won't hold too much stock into it. I'm waiting for the real deal to start.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, another season for you with Jimmy Butler, starting the season. It's going to be interesting because, at the end of the day, I know they flamed out in the playoffs or the play-in or whatever it was, the playoffs. But, they did play well, man, for a period when he first joined. Like, they were winning a lot of games. So if they can get a bit of camaraderie, him and Steph, you never know, man. Steph's a special player. So good luck to the Warriors, but not as much good luck as the Lakers, obviously, man.
Hernan says it would be great to get a good player in return. We need to trade LeBron. Hernan, he still has that no trade clause. I just wanted to let you know he's still, that's part of that contract. That
can you imagine that, Gerald? If we ever get a notification from ESPN, LeBron James traded for Shai Gilgeous or something like.
Well, he has to want to be traded. So if he wants to leave the Lakers, he has to want to. So he cannot be traded unless he gives the authority to do so because he has a no trade clause for this season. So I think people forget that. I think Hernan was forgetting that. So I don't want to get his hopes up too high on a LeBron trade. And I don't think you'll actually see a LeBron trade unless this season goes south. A lot of people are talking about how if Luka is not going to be healthy or is he not going to be able to play a lot of games for the Lakers this season, it's not going to be a good season. Well, of course, it's not going to be a good season for the Lakers. So there is that possibility. But I think as long as Luka stays out there, he is going to play at an MVP-like level. And if that's the case, Luka might have to be doing a lot of the workload, a lot of the carrying for the Lakers this season. We'll see how far that goes. He did it with a young Dallas team and took them to the finals. Can he do something similar for a team that maybe doesn't have the best 15-man roster out there, but a team that maybe with the right spots with Austin and LeBron, or if they trade Austin or somebody at the trade deadline, we could see what happens there. But again, we'll have to wait and see what would happen. But Johnny said, why would the Lakers trade Gabe for Thibault? Again, you're talking about a total one-way player again, similar to what we have already with Vanderbilt and maybe to an extent Marcus Smart.
That's a horrific trade. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but he's Aussie, Thibault, so I'm going to have to interject there. Gabe, my thoughts on Gabe. We can keep going on about them, but that's not the trade, Gerald. Thybulle's well past it, and he can only defend, and he doesn't even do that really well anymore. That's crazy talk.
Johnny, it's just so hard to keep these one-way players out there. So if you have Thibault out there, you can't have Vando out there. If you have Vando out there, you may not even be able to keep Marcus Smart out there because we don't know what kind of offense Marcus Smart still has left at this stage of his career. I'm hoping it's still at an even average level. If one of these good defenders have at least an average offensively, even average offensively, then it changes the game on how many minutes they can effectively play out there in NBA basketball. You could see today that yes, he hit a three, Vando did, but you could just see that teams are going to lay off of him. And he missed his next 2 threes. Teams are going to beg him to shoot from the outside. And I don't know how many times he's going to be able to dribble drive like you saw today effectively to the basket, because for every time he looked good against Quentin Post, he stumbled, and other times taking it. So it's still wait and see. I do like the agility. I do like the fact that I saw more activity from Jared Vanderbilt. Again, I note that he's another year removed from his double foot surgery. And in doing so, it's obviously you can see that he feels a lot better. He indicated as such in media day. So that helps so tremendously for his agility on the defensive end. Will it help him offensively? I will have to wait and see. But these one-way players, I just cannot continue to say how hard it is to play one-way players that can't even do something adequately on the other end and be able to keep them out of the floor in pressure situations there, Legend. Like you guys, I don't know who you want to single out for one-way players, but you guys have one-way players that it's really hard to keep out there in pressure type situations. Quentin Post, Buddy Hield gave you a lot more effort defensively last season, but he's not been known as a defender. It's just hard to keep one-way players out there. More so with you guys. You guys can get away with it because you have someone named Steph Curry. You could put, Steph Curry with us alongside. He may be able to get on by just because of the sheer fact he draws so much of the defense toward him. But when you don't have him in that lineup, it's so much hard. It makes Kerr's job so much harder and more difficult to plan out. And that's why the Kuminga situation is what it is, because Kuminga's strengths don't always work well with what Kerr and Curry and how they want to play the game.
You're right about that. That's pretty much how it. When you had on one player, you only can do one thing they really strong at. It puts you in a bind. That's why them players who are like 3-way, 2-way, they are so special. You want to hang on to them when you got them because they can do more than one thing. And that's what you need. When you got a person who can play defense, offense, can guard multiple positions. Hey man, how much money do you need so I can make sure you stay here? Because I can't find too many of you around the NBA. How much is it gonna take to keep you? That's why you see a lot of people want to hang on to players like that because they are hard to come by, nowadays. And getting to the point where it's getting kind of hard to find guards who can play both ends of the ball. And same thing, even with a power forward who can play both ends as well as stretch the floor. So, hey guys, when you see people want to pay so much money for them guys who can play 3-way, 2-way, that's why. It just ain't that many of them around. You get a lot of one-dimensional guys nowadays. A lot.
Legend, you guys had a player like that and got rid of him, Klay Thompson. How did you feel at that time when that happened? We never got your thoughts at the time because that was, Klay could still be there and they could still be seeing out this dynasty. He's no older than Jimmy Butler. So how do you look at that in hindsight? Knowing that, he did have some good performances for Dallas. He's not the same player, obviously, but how do you feel still about Klay being in a different uniform? Does it hurt, or you've moved on?
At moments, I would say it still doesn't look right. I feel like he should have been a Warrior to the very end. I feel like that's what should have happened. He should have retired as a Warrior with Draymond and Curry. All three should have left the game together. But I understand that he just couldn't accept that new role of being not as a starter and couldn't accept that he's just not Klay Thompson old anymore. And it was obvious it wasn't the same anymore. Had a lot of bad shooting games, and he can't defend 1, 2, 3 the way he used to. But I feel like they should have worked out something to keep him there. Because that'd have been the poetic way to end it for Golden State. Let all three of them leave at the same time.
Would have been magic, hey? Yeah, it's just nothing's perfect in this world, is it? That would have been to see those three retire together, or whatever, but retiring Golden State uniforms. That would have felt right. But Klay seems like a nice guy, so good luck to him in Dallas. But I think Dallas will struggle with their injuries to Kyrie, and we know how Davis can get injured at the drop of a hat. So good luck to Dallas, but we got Luka.
Yeah, especially I know her AD came in training camp a little out of shape.
Yeah, well, we sort of said that today as well, Legend, about Draymond. He looked a little bit top heavy there, but is that not uncommon for him to sort of come in a little bit? Because he's never Draymond's never he's never your like a David Robinson type, obviously, but he's often quite slim. But he looked a bit heavy tonight. I don't know if that was your read. Is that his normal sort of, modus operandi coming into the season?
A lot of times he usually do come in looking a little out of it, and about a month or two he started looking where he normally looks. That's usually how it happens.
He's the funny one though, isn't he? It's not like he needs his, he doesn't need to be super ripped or anything the way he plays the game. He's just a smart player. It's definitely something we noticed. But yeah, Anthony Davis is loving the Dallas barbecue. You're right. We all do.
Absolutely. Barbecue. Nobody will argue with Dallas barbecue. That's for sure. Nobody will ever argue with Dallas barbecue. I certainly won't. Anthony says Draymond Green is washed. He was in mid-season form the way he was going at it with Jared Vanderbilt in that first half. I mean, he set the screen. It was a hard screen. Vanderbilt took exception. I guess Vanderbilt tried to trip him with the legs. Very interesting to see. Legend, I want to get it back to you before I get it back to Mark on Draymond Green. You know what? Again, if he sits out for 20, 25 games on the suspension, because even in an exhibition game, he almost got himself tossed. I mean, I don't know what that does for you guys, but again, you guys are a small team, an old team in that front court. That's got to be a concern because you don't have much there in the first place. I think that's your biggest weakness is the front court. I don't know how much you can really rely on an Al Horford to really get you by. I mean, he played well past couple seasons, but I don't know how much further this can go heading close to the Big 4-0. But if Draymond does a Draymond again this season, the league is not going to be too the league's had enough. The league has had absolutely enough of his antics, and they will not give him any leniency anytime soon.
Well, if he don't get out of it, he's going to put us in a spot because, like you said, Gerald, we don't have much front court to rely on. We ain't got bigs like that. So we lose him, you put in big old Al Horford in a spot. That's going to do something that you probably don't really want to do. So Draymond got to really try to cut it out a little bit because it is starting to get kind of old and aggravating now. And I mean, come on, man. You almost in your mid-30s, late 30s. It's time to get out of that phase anyway. Because it's time to start getting it together, or I like to call it, start trying to become wiser. Because you are representing for a lot of the younger guys at this point. It ain't like we in 2016, 15, we doing all that, the antics and stuff. Ain't no point doing that at this point of age. Not at this point. Steph Curry needs you out there as much as you can because this is make it or break it. This is coming toward the end of his career. So every time you missing out, that affects the team. Every time you missing out, 9 out of 10, you're probably gonna lose the game. We need everybody out there. So you need to kind of bag off, stay out of trouble, and kind of get out of the antics because one of these days you're gonna run across the wrong one, and they're gonna do their thing. You're gonna run across the wrong one.
Absolutely. Mark, before we head it out, I want to hear some final thoughts. Again, the Lakers don't have a game for the next week. I don't know if the Warriors have a game for the next week, Legend, but I know that they play against each other on Sunday. the Lakers' next game is against the Warriors. Catch up with us on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, and of course the post game right here as well. But Mark, let me know your just some final takeaway thoughts on the game. I mean, Ayton, I still can't get a read on him as of yet because again, he hasn't played with LeBron and Luka, who will hopefully get him a lot of easy points during the course of the season. So I'd like to see how that starts to work itself out. Austin in his one game was really up already to mid-season form for him. Seeing Gabe today, seeing Vando today playing at all efficiently, where we're not yelling at them and we're not really terrorizing them. We're actually complimenting them on the way that they played in the first half. I think it's a positive. And then of course also as well RJ Davis, but there's some bright spots that I'm going to try and take away, and hopefully you will as well.
Oh, for sure. I like to be quite positive, and good performance by Gabe, 2 good performances by RJ Davis. What you want to see from Ayton is him, looking the way he does. He looks nice and fit. There's obviously going to be time for him to get integrated into the team, but like Legend says, not really the team right now. It's there's no Luka, there's no LeBron. Rui, did he play tonight? I think he played in the first half. Gerald, very limited.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
I don't recall seeing him in the second half very often.
No. Just 19 minutes tonight for him. 20 minutes for everyone. Jared, Jake, and DeAndre. That was the most. Then, of course, Bronny and Dalton. Dalton got a 34 spot. Bronny played 23, and those were the most on the team.
Yeah, well, look, so we've touched on the positives, but unfortunately, there is some negatives there. You just mentioned the guys, Gerald. Wasn't me who mentioned them. You mentioned them, and they played big minutes. And what you would have wanted to see is a little bit more, better contributions on the stat sheet, not just necessarily, holding the score together, because it wasn't really them. It was Gabe that was keeping us afloat. So Gabe, positive. Vando to a degree positive, Ayton positive, Rui okay, but Rui again, I want to see a bit more improvement out of him. He's a player that needs to develop year on year because he didn't start playing basketball. He sort of got the game late, and someone like that should be able to develop in off seasons, and AR as well. So let's see. I like the idea of a week training, Gerald. Like that sounds pretty reasonable. NBA where the players can just train together for a week. So let's see what camaraderie they build during that week and then what happens in the next few preseason games. But I think Legends made the point of the night where really it's about trying to find out who the others are right now. And we'll see over the next week who trains hard and who impresses JJ and is, winning championship mentality form or whatever he's going on about that we should be in right now. So, let's just wait and see, Gerald. It's just too early to tell where we're at because guys like Luka and that haven't hit the floor yet.
You know what? Despite the 5 for 17 shooting mark, despite the 3 for 10 from behind the arc, despite the 5 turnovers for Bronny, despite the not so great play from either guy this time around, I want to put some positives before I bring it over to the Legend. Dalton Knecht was a +6 because of that fourth quarter where they outscored Golden State 23-9. That got Dalton into the positives, and that got Bronny a +1. So, you guys, that's
there
a positive. We're gonna take that as a positive. Those two.
That is your lead story on ESPN.
Yes, +1
for Bronny.
Or any article. How much did Bronny get today? Bronny, you know this. When you go out there, you type in Bronny James. There's like 10 articles. Clickbait articles that are like, what did Bronny do today? What did Bronny do today? Yes, they're still out there because they know he still gets the clicks. Absolutely.
The putback dunk was nice, Gerald, but it's then proceeding to miss the next 2 by an air ball and throwing the ball out and stuff like that. So I think it's be able to do everything well. Yeah.
Well, I think it's where you're seeing Bronny where he can play against second teamers or third teamers because he sees a lot of these guys in the G League. So he can play with these guys. He can play against these guys and he can score and he can do things with it. It's when you ask him to play against Stephen Curry or when you ask him to play against starters or high
barbecue chicken,
rotation
man.
players.
Yeah, he's
Exactly.
just going to get killed.
That's
And
that's
he's
the
not
problem.
Gerald, he's not a winner either. He's never, like, he didn't play in college. I know he had the heart issue and that, but even in college, he was really quite poor. You know what I mean? He's not like a winner. I don't know what he brings to the team. Like, he doesn't bring sort of confidence or
He
anything.
brought his dad
It's
for another 2 years. So there
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, that's right.
But I'll
it is
just
what
leave
it
it
is.
at that. Bronny's in the chat. Let's not be too rude, guys. Bronny's in the chat
That's right.
today. So, yes. Again, I think Bronny, if in order for him to not piss off Joe, has to play better against top 7 or 8 rotation players. If he can figure that out, then he will get some time during the course of the season. And I think he will get time. Bronny, I think just because of poor play or injuries, you will get looks on more than one occasion this season, maybe even early in the season. So be ready. Work on that jump shot. Cut down those turnovers. Don't be like your dad. Cut down those turnovers. And you never know what will happen to Deed. But Legend, I'm going to bring it over to you, my friend. What's going on with your great channel? I owe you a college football chat right there at I Got Next Sports Media.
Definitely, I would say everyone check out the live stream from earlier today that me and Gerald did. Talked a little bit on the NBA. We talked about the Laker news. We talked about the Warriors news. Talked about the path for my Hawks to get to the finals. And we finished the show with a little bit of talk about college football. So check us out. Check on my podcast. Check on my channel. I Got Net Sport Media. Check me out. On the road to hitting that 100 subscribers. So check me out. I'll probably be doing a live stream later this week to talk about what it's going to take for my UGA Bulldogs to get back to the national championship game, and is it time to think about getting rid of some of these eliminated sorry bowl games that we always have to go through every year?
I told you all this time, and Joe hates it when I say this. The college football playoffs should be entire bowl season. That's what it should be. Like the Toilet Bowl, Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, or whatever bowls. All these minor league bowls that you see in early December, mid-December. They should be first round elimination tournament games. You should expand the tournament field to 24 or whatever that makes it work for these games and use it there. It would gain so much more interest to these smaller bowls, Legend, and it would gain so much more TV revenue, money, which the NCAA loves. I really think that that's what they should go to. But again, that's just me and what I'm thinking on that much.
I feel you, Nick. I feel the same way.
Good point, Anthony. Question he put out there: why didn't UCLA kids storm the field on Saturday? Because they have nothing else to cheer for the rest of the season when they beat Penn State. A, the security's good and tight at the Rose Bowl. I've seen the security at the Rose Bowl. B, maybe that's a good question. What is B? UCLA? Just again, they haven't had much to cheer for. You're right. That should have been their entire season right there. Maybe they're just maybe they should be called the University of Spoiled Children. I don't know. I would have thought they would have ransacked the field there, taken the goalposts, send it down Pasadena way. But no.
I know Virginia show did it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen that 3 times already this year, in major upsets. But yeah, UCLA, give them the credit they won. But yeah, they need to celebrate it because they're not going to do much more celebrating this season. But that sounds good. Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do lose 111-103. Catch Legend on I Got Next Sports Media. Big shout out to Mark. Big shout out to his frenemy, his old frenemy, Vari, aka Sports Baby, who terrorized each other on our recent playback. Big shout out to Laker Nick. I gotta get Laker Nick on to talk some legal stuff when it comes to the NBA this week. That's one of my missions, is to get him on the air again. He is so insightful. I love it when he comes on the air because he brings so much to it, not only for his love of basketball and the Lakers, but also his insight as far as the legal side of it, because I want to get into more Kawhi Gate stuff and also what's going on in Phoenix as well. So yes, I've also got more team previews, guys. More team previews are coming your way. Tomorrow's the Knicks. We're going to keep on rolling with it all the way to the end. Please keep at it. And Mark, I'm for you, man. For you. Before I have my Tim Tam, I do have hopefully a Lakers preview for you, especially because you asked me for a team preview for the Lakers.
I did
as well. Yes,
that's the only one I truly want to watch. I've been enjoying your previews, Gerald. So thanks for putting them out for us. You do such great work, man. And isn't it exciting that the season's just around the corner? You know, you can just tell by the chat and just how everyone's re-engaging again. Feels so good, man. It sucks without basketball. So we're nearly there, guys. But, can't wait.
Can't wait indeed. Antoine, what's up? Great to have you here. Please rewind the show because it was a great conversation. Hopefully get a chance to check it out. Plus my NBA team previews.
Great chat.
For Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. For Commodore 64, because he is pissed off at Xbox as I am, a.k.a. Mark down in Australia. It is, of course, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this. Please like and subscribe so I can afford to eat more Tim Tams like I'm doing right now, dipping it in the milk right here. Catch us all week long on the Lakers Fast Break podcast.
Not good.
Tim Tams. Although Mark didn't tell me about the melting of the chocolate on my finger. Not liking that so much. Tim Tam.